What is up, guys? Max here, and welcome back to another tutorial. So in today's tutorial, we'll be making callout titles, and not just any run-of-the-mill callout titles. We'll be making them smart, kind of like templatized callout titles. And as always, feel free to download my project file down in the description to follow along with this tutorial. The reason that I'm making these callout titles tutorials is because I was asked. Someone online asked me how to make callout titles. I'll throw it up on the screen. Thank you for the inspiration. And here we go. Normally when you see callout titles, it's something kind of like this. There's a lot of templates that are made that way. You'll see it comes out, something like a circle pops out, it follows a point, and then there's like a little, almost like a lower third kind of looking thing that pops out. And yeah, really simple. And the way it works is you'll custom make it. Let's say you want it to follow a different point. You'll have to move this circle to a new point. So the beginning is like right here following this building. Oh, it's gonna be towards the end. It's gonna be right here. And then you have to go into your trim path line that you've created and actually, keyframe the path to be at a different spot towards the end. So you grab this, you move it down, and it's all done by hand. I mean, like every single time. Which can get a little annoying and frustrating because you have to keyframe multiple things. If the keyframe's not perfect, you have messed up and you gotta fix everything. And for the most part it works, but I think there's a better way. I'd really rather just have this circle on the screen and move it around at my leisure, and this line follows it, all built in After Effects, which is how templates normally work. And I figured out how to make it, and I'm going to show you guys how to make that. So I made a new one, same thing, exact same thing, except inside of this, you can actually, grab the circle and just move it anywhere you want. I mean, and it works. The line stays. You just keyframe 2 points on the screen. You start. So we could start here on this point and end up, back right here on that point, and it follows it. And what's even cooler is you can grab different points on the line and actually kind of like manipulate it. So your callout tile could be like right here. It's very, very powerful. And you can change, you have a lot of control. So let's learn how to make this. Really simple. If you haven't downloaded the project file, just follow along. Go to new composition inside of After Effects. 15 seconds is plenty long enough. Comp 1, we'll call it new title. Click OK. First shot, the first thing we need to do is make the circle that's gonna follow all this stuff. Typically you see the circle. That's what we're making, so not a big deal. Click on your little circle tool up here. If it's not there, click down, hit that. Make sure your fill is turned on and your stroke is turned off. Click stroke, turn it off. And then drag out a circle. Then grab your anchor point tool on shape layer 1 and move it in, right there. Now we gotta make it like holy circle, like we saw in the last one. So what we're gonna do is in your contents, drop down on your ellipse, click ellipse path, go to add ellipse. Let's make this ellipse one a little smaller. Then we'll add a new parameter and we'll do trim paths. Trim the path, not trim path, I'm sorry. Go to add merge paths. Drop this down and we will subtract it. So now it's like a hole. Next, what we'll do is add another ellipse. Drop it under merge path 1. Make the size a lot smaller. It's just another circle on the inside. Just like that. Now what you could do is animate the circle inside, like I did in the first one, where the circle kind of like does that. But what we'll do is just make this whole circle scale up. Really simple. So if you wanted to animate the circle on the inside, you could just animate the scale or the size of the inside circle. So like scale it, keyframe it, and then you could scale the whole thing up to make it grow. But we'll just do it normally. So keyframe the scale, go back, make this 0, right click, easy ease, or hit F9, and when you play it, it does that. We can actually go to the graph editor to make it a little more exciting, a little more oomph on the movement. So it's like that, looks really good. And why not? Let's just go in and actually animate the other side too. Go to contents, ellipse 1, ellipse number 3. We will click keyframe on the size for path number 3, or ellipse number 3. Scale this down to 0. And right before it finishes at 100%, we'll upscale a little bit so it's like scales in a little bit bigger than it should be. Right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Just like that. Ah, we made it. Look at there. Hit play. Looks pretty smooth. We could play with the keyframes more to make it more, fancy, but not a big deal. Okay, this has been made. Next, what we're going to need is the actual lines. So, as you can see in this one, you got the paths that come out. How do we make those? Normally what you could do is actually grab the pen tool and make a path. Turn the fill off. Don't do this, I'm just giving you an example. You could make this path, and that's how you would do it. You use trim paths and make it animate out. But there's a cooler way of doing this that I think you're gonna like. So right click inside of this, go to new, solid. We'll call it path 1. Click OK. Cool, just a big solid, doesn't matter. Go to your effects and presets and type beam. So drag beam onto your path. Now it's just a line. Cool. So let's do the inside color to white, outside color to white. Softness down to 0. Length 100%. Just like that. Maybe I can actually grab the starting points and stuff and move it around. Now what we'll do again is we'll duplicate path. We'll call this like path 2. And we'll kind of move it around, move it off screen a little bit. Nah, we'll keep it there. Turn it off for now. Now what we need to do is make our controllers. What's going to control this thing, where we could just drag it around like last time. Really simple. So right click, new, null. We'll call this point 1. Point 1. Grab your anchor point tool and actually drag the anchor point into the center of the null. That's kind of a habit. You don't need to do this, but I like to do this. We'll move this right here. Command D to duplicate it, point 2. Command D to duplicate it, point 3. Cool. Now we need to do some expressions. Really, really simple. So what you'll do on path 1 is drop down, and path 2, drop down on these little keyframes. You will go to effects, beam, beam. On both of these, you have all these little effects inside of here. So on point 1, point 2, and point 3, you'll drop down as well the transform tags. So you got your position, position, and position. Now in our beam, for path 1, the first line, we want it to go from the center of this dot to the next little, elbow in the line. So what you'll do is grab your starting point. You'll click Option on your keyboard, click that, take this little swirly and scroll up. Come on. Scroll, scroll, scroll. It's not letting me. Not enough room. Drop down all these points. Drop down path 2. Cool. Take your starting point, grab the squirrely, and on point 1 on the position keyframe, you kind of drop it onto this. Click that. Boom. Now it's going to there. Now on your ending point for path 1, you want it to be on the position of point 2. So option click the endpoint, grab the squirrely, put it on the position of point 2. So I think you can kind of get where we're going with this. Wherever I drag these nulls around, it moves. Cool. Now turn on path 2. We need the starting point to be on the position of point 2. And then we want the endpoint to be on the position of point 3. So you now have this like movable line from these 3 nulls. Really smart. Next, what you'll do is take your shape layer, you'll drag it onto the center right there of point 1, and then drop down the position keyframe and the position keyframe of point 1. Option click the position, drag it onto the position of that. So no matter where you move point 1, it will always follow it. Very, very simple. Now we need this to animate out, the lines to animate out. Now there's a different way of doing it, not traditionally. So on path 1, drop down the effects, and what you'll do is time. So time is this. So right here, ending or time, keyframe it. That's the ending point. Then put it at 0 for the starting point. So it's like that. We'll go in, keyframe, easy ease. We'll watch it, see how it looks. Not very exciting. Go to your graph editor with these and make it exciting. Cool, that looks a lot better. Next, what you'll do, because there's a point right here that just sits there, you'll take your opacity, so click T on your keyboard of path 1, turn the opacity on, hit U on your keyboard to show all your keyframes, and at this point turn it off. So it just kind of like fades in really fast and does that. Now what you'll do is copy these keyframes on path 2, and when this finishes, we need it to start right there. Paste your keyframes. So there's like a 2-step, animate out, which is actually really nice looking. So click play. Just like that. Super simple. Now let's make this a little nicer. Let's grab point 1, put it right here. Point 2, put it right here. Point 3, put it right here. Now what we need is some call out titles. Really simple. Real quick animation to do this. Nothing too crazy. So in our project, go to new composition, click OK. Let's call it our title. Click OK. Same parameters as last time. What you'll do is grab, a rectangle tool, drag this rectangle out. Right now it's got the stroke turned on. Let's make it like right here, doesn't matter the size. Drag another rectangle around it. Beautiful. Okay, on your, sorry. Drag another rectangle around it without this selected, so it's the same rectangle. Not the same rectangle, it's 2 separate ones. For at least, this version. Let's make it a little bit, let's make it almost the same size, so it's kind of like really close to it. Like that, cool. So on shape 2, or shape 1, turn your fill on, and turn your stroke off. Don't need no stroke. Shape 2, you can scale it down to 95%. It's a lot closer. Cool. So what we'll do on shape 2 is drop down the contents, rectangle, go to add, trim pass. Finally get to use it. Start, like that, end. Cool. End, right there. So what we'll do is actually take the end and move it down to 0, keyframe it, go forward in time to where it's 100%, and right here on the start, we'll keyframe it and end it right there. So it's kind of like this line that's following it itself. You will keyframe assistant, easy ease. How does that look? Looks all right. Go to the graph editor to edit these bad boys. Just like that. So we can watch them now. Cool. Then we can actually duplicate this layer, move it down our timeline, really down our timeline. Take the stroke, make it a lot smaller. It's like a smaller version of the same thing. And now we have our little circle stuff that happens. Sorry if I went a little fast on that, but I think you got it. Do we got it? Rectangle with a stroke, trim paths. Cool. Now, time for this. What we're going to do is take our anchor point on the rectangle that we created and move it to the back right here. Click S on your keyboard for scale, and we're going to scale this thing, but this little chain link, turn it off, and now we can scale one of them without anything happening. So first, we'll click this at 0, click scale on our keyboard, and then make it 100%. Like that. Highlight both keyframes, right click, easy ease, go into the graph editor, and as always, play with the graph, which this is a speed graph if you're curious. If you don't see it, click edit speed graph and you're good to go. Play this. You want it to come out of the gate a little faster than that. Just like that. We'll grab it, the shape layer up here, and turn the fill to, I don't know, let's do red. We'll duplicate it, move it down the timeline, change the fill to blue. So it's kind of like overlapping itself now. Duplicate it one more time, make it white. Sweet. Next, what we'll do is grab our text tool, draw some text on here, which I'm using Babus New. Titles of time. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll scale the text down some. Oop, not that. Scale the text down some. And put it right here. Titles of time. And real simple. We'll drag it to see it right here. Tape shape layer 5, which is the white shape. Command D to duplicate it. We'll drag it above titles of time. Take your track mat right here. Drop down alpha mat shape layer 6. And if you don't see track mat, really simple. Just right click in this little thing. Click columns. And I'm pretty sure it is modes. Yep, it's modes. Modes to show track mat. So basically there's an invisible shape that is only revealing the titles of time. Shape layer. And everything else is under it. Really, really simple way of making this. Next, we'll zoom out. We will go click this little button right here, region of interest, drag it around this. Composition, crop to region of interest. Now our composition is only the size of our title that pops out. We'll jump back to our new title composition, drag in our title that we just created as a comp to put on top. We'll scale it down some. So first, before we scale it, we're going to do a little finagling. We're going to take the anchor point, which is the middle, and we're going to put it off to the side, like right here. Like right there is good. That looks good. Then on position 3, really simple. We drop down the P on the keyboard for your title, then P on your keyboard for position for point 3. We hit Option, click on this little hourglass, and drag it to your position. So no matter wherever you move point 3, your title follows. And now we can actually like scale the title down some. If you'd like to get it closer as well, so we can kind of move it down our timeline. Yeah, so these lines are kind of touching, which is kind of weird. So grab your anchor point, and if you click on your anchor point and move it like this, once you've parented it to the point, it's kind of awkward to move, but you still figure it out. We want it to end up like right here, kind of like lined up. So boom, boom, boom. That looks good. And as always, if you really want to, change it dynamically, you can grab your anchor point and just move it around. So if you wanted it to be in the center of your title, just move your anchor point and it follows. And if you wanted to make something different, like something that shows up under here, just create a new title, and you could always just like create a new title, drop it in, and add it in as like another element that would go somewhere else. So once you built it in, it follows, and all follows. Works really well. So cool. That's how you make a callout title. But now we got to put it to a picture. So what we're going to do is go to the site where I got that photo from the example called unsplash.com, and we're just going to download a picture. This dog picture looks awesome. Click download. I'll link Unsplash into the description below just to help everybody out. Download you a photo, doesn't matter from where, show in Finder. We're going to drag the photo right into the composition just because we just downloaded it. It's our picture of our puppy. Make it a lot smaller. We want the final frame to be like right here. So on your photo, drag it to the bottom, click P on your keyboard, click S on your keyboard to keyframe the position and the scale. Move it over in your timeline. Move it right here, then scale this bad boy up. Actually, we'll do it like right here. So it's going like that. We want to keyframe his nose. I don't know his nose. So point 1 is where our circle starts. So hit P on your keyboard for point 1. Here's your position. The final frame of this is going to be right here. So P, keyframe that, and the beginning is going to be right here. So it's going to go out like that. Now, point 3, we need this thing to be like right here. Point 2, we get this thing like right here. So let's give this thing a play. And these little boxes are annoying, so click this little button right here, toggle your, whatever, it's not there. Ignore what I said. Click play. Really, really simple to make that. Still going. Really simple call out title. And if you're really a boss, you'll make this whole thing move. So take our point 3. We want it to end up right here. Click P on your keyboard, go to the beginning, and move it down here. Oop, don't scale it, don't scale it. Move it down here. Point 2, click P, And towards the end, it needs to be right here. This looks pretty intense. See how it works. But yeah, that's pretty much how you make controllable callout titles. Could be better, what I just did, but hey, I think you got the concept. I really just wanted to show you how to create the 3 points and something that can be controlled, because you can reapply this to everything and only have to keyframe really one object at a time, and it creates that anchor for you, and be able to give it a little more movement for a little more dynamicness, I guess, to your tutorial. But this is a little longer than usual, but I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I'm Max. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Feel free to leave a suggestion and a comment. Thanks. Peace.